So imagine you're lost in the desert, right? And you look left, you look right, you look everywhere, and you see nothing on the horizon. And you have no idea which way to go to get out of this desert. What would you do? Are you gonna sit there, you're gonna wait for somebody to come find you and save you? You could be millions of miles away from anything, who knows? You can't see anything on the horizon, there's no people, there's nothing. You're probably gonna walk, right? I know I'm walking, you only have so much water, you only have so much time, and so I might not know where to go, but I know that where I'm at is not where I want to be right now or where I need to be, and so I think I would start going somewhere. And I think that's probably the answer to this question is looking for direction is like start going somewhere. Life is an exploration, Like we don't have any answers out here. We don't know what we're supposed to do, who we're supposed to be. When you're born, it doesn't come with like an operator's manual, right? Like there's no set of instructions handed to you at birth that say this is what you need to do, this is where you need to go. And so it's really an exploration. It's a searching, a finding your way. And you can only do that if you move, right? If you go into different directions. So you start to explore different paths in life. There's probably 3 things that all of life boils down to. So this will give you some help, right? There's like 3 areas. Love, right? Your life is relationships. What's life without the people you share it with, right? Your health is a main component, like a lot of times when people are very sick or unhealthy, they're very unhappy and it limits their quality of life. And then your success or money, right? Like making money, doing something in the world that you're passionate about, making your mark in the world, whatever the case, but you're looking for some type of like success. And these are really the 3 buckets. Now, of course, those buckets can be tossed into all different ways, shapes, and forms, but it's a good place to start. Right now, when you ask that question, it makes me feel like you're somebody who's not really enjoying their experience out here. And I think if you really spend some time thinking on it, it's probably because one of those 3 buckets is not the way you had hoped it'd be, or it's not good enough, for lack of a better term. And so that's a good place to start, right? Is to pick a direction in that bucket to start going. And we'll use health, for instance. Like maybe you might be sick or you're not as good looking as you would like to be, or whatever the case may be. Maybe you're feeling limited in your health. And so you think, okay, cool, I'm going to start getting healthier. And this might include eating better foods or working out or whatever. And you're gonna go out and you're gonna try something like weightlifting, right? Everybody says, oh, lift weights and your whole life will be better. And so you try that, but it doesn't do much for you. Maybe you hate it, maybe it's hard, maybe it's just not fun or just doesn't resonate with you in some way. And so as you're trying that, but some other person that you met at the gym, they say, well, have you ever tried yoga? Yoga is really awesome. It's a lot lightweight, and a lot of people tend to like that type of a form of exercise. And so you go to a yoga class with this person and you start to fall in love with yoga and you start being like, wow, I really like this. And through that, you start to see your health change and you become more vibrant and vital in life. And that starts to open up new doors for you. Now maybe you're working hard in your industry and you're making like headway because your mind's so much more clearer, you have so much more energy, and you're more focused. And you can see that sometimes just going down a path, it might not be the place we want to go, but it might lead us to another place. It might help us find our direction. And so I really think it lies in exploration, trying different things and moving through those and finding out, like, as you're going, you're approaching your life like a scientist and you're looking, you're saying, okay, I'm trying this, but I don't like it. Well, why don't I like it? Is it because, is it something within me? Is it something within the thing I'm trying? Or maybe I like this part of it, but I didn't really like this. And so maybe I should find something that's more in this lane, right? But you explore and you go and you find, and each step of the way you learn something new about yourself, about the world, and everything becomes more and more clear to you. I know because I was on this path, like that's definitely a part of my personal story. I was completely lost as a young man, probably 18, 19 years old, and I won't bore you with my entire story, but I joined the Army because that's just what my parents did, and that just seemed like a safe route, like it's something I knew, but I just did it because I didn't have anything better to do and my life was going to shit, So I joined the Army, And I spent 6 years in the military because I had no choice, right? But through there, I quickly learned a couple years in, I was like, this ain't for me. Like, I don't want to do this. So I was like, wow, I'm really ambitious. Like, I really want to do something awesome. I want to make an impact in the world. And I didn't feel like I could do that in the way that I wanted to in the Army. So I knew I had to leave. But I didn't know where else to go, But I knew that from working a job like that I liked freedom. I liked my own ability to choose and pick my own time and what I work on. And I wanted to do something big. And so that led me to be like, okay, well, no more jobs for me. I'm probably like an entrepreneur, Like, I want to create something big. And it would be awesome to get wealthy and to make this incredible impact. And so I started going down the entrepreneurial route. And the deeper I went, I tried 1,800 different businesses. Man, I could tell you all of them, but there was a lot. And a lot of them failed, and I had to learn and grow. But along the way, now in the where I'm at now, and I look back, it's so much easier to see where you've traveled and how it's all led you to the place you are now. In each one of those steps, I picked up these awesome skills that I use now every single day, but in a completely different way than when I intended and when I set out, right? But each step that I took, I might not have known where I was going, but it led me to exactly where I wanted to be. And so I think that is the key. But most people don't. It sounds so simple, but most people don't, because we have this idea that we're supposed to have it all figured out. And that was one of the things that like really irked me when I was younger. Like when you think about being 18, you're technically an adult, but you still know nothing about life. You know nothing about the world. You really know nothing. You might know a couple things from like your social interactions in high school and whatever they taught you out of a textbook, but you barely know who you are as a person. You don't know anything about anything, but you're expected to have a whole life plan. You're expected to know exactly where to go and everything to do all the way leading up to it. And that's just completely unrealistic. And so we have this external pressure on ourselves of like, you're supposed to have it figured out. And that limits us from wanting to try and explore and fail, and really like have to go the wrong way. Because sometimes when you're exploring, that happens. You might go down a path and it might take you deep down that path before you realize that that's not the right direction. And there's this weird stigma of like, if you're 30 years old and you have to start your life over, that you're somehow a failure. But I can just tell you from personal experience, that's not the case. Like I said, for me, it was not until I was about 30, like moving into my late 20s, where I had to blow everything up and start from scratch. And I felt that pressure, but at the same time, now I laugh because I've made so much progress since then. I'm so much more happy, and I found something that like really lights me up and that I'm excited to work on, and I'm making all this progress, and I still feel young. I still feel young. I still feel like I have my whole life ahead of me. And I don't even care if you're 50 or 60. Like, there is so much more time in life than we really think there is. And ultimately, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because you're gonna die. And you don't want to have lived a life for somebody else at the end of that. If what you're doing now, or the direction you choose and you start heading down, if it ends up not being fulfilling, you don't want to just keep going down there just because you're afraid of others and what they'll think of you, because one day you are going to wake up, and it might be far, far down the road, but it will be too late one day. And that regret, I think, hits like a Mack truck. So, I think get out there and explore, start looking, start trying new things, start meeting new people, start really diving into things that you're passionate about, or that you're even just interested in. You don't even have to be passionate about. Maybe you just have like a slight, like, ooh, that'd be kind of cool. Go get your hands dirty in that and see what you like about it and what you don't, and let that step lead you to your next step. And just realize that, there is no end goal. There is no place that you have to reach. Life really is all just exploration, finding things that you love and moving more and more towards that. You never really reach anywhere. There is no destination to get to. I guarantee you that as you move down that path, you're just going to want to keep going, right? Like, that's why we often talk about the path. I talk about this path of personal development, and it just lends to this idea that you're always trying to progress. No matter how high you get, no matter how far you go, you're always going to want to see what's next and what's on the other side of that. And so just keep exploring, keep looking, and eventually you'll find things that you just can't get away from, that you just can't let it go.